Welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, Tucson, Arizona's #1 online radio podcast about all things medical cannabis. Your host, Belle,
and the Cannabis Kid. Our show features news, interviews, and all the latest information about anything and everything medical cannabis related in Tucson, Arizona, and the world at large.
We'd love to hear from you. Please give us a call live at 646-915-8421. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on all social media, or email thctucson@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Tumbleweeds Health Center and COC, along with our many sponsors, for hosting our show every week with the lowest price certifications.
All right, welcome to Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. Woo! Golf clap for that. How's everybody doing today? I can't believe it's another Wednesday, July 23rd for the bestie. It's not really an air horn, guys. And I know you're all wondering. Here it is. How many days until Christmas? Let's find out. 155 days until Christmas and 156 till it's over. That's for you, Mr. Allen. All right, Weedsday Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We have the continuation of the hemp hearing to play today. So let's just see about it. Weedsday Wednesday, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it, guys, gals, whatever. Let's see. Good. Let's say good morning to our ganja lovers. Oh man, yesterday was 9 months since I've had a bong hit or any sort of smoke type of cannabis, which is just disgustingly hard. It's just disgusting. Oh man. Yeah, that's because of my burst. I had a medical you don't smoke. I'm like, oh, dang it. They said I could do edibles, but doing edibles actually during the daytime because of the medication I'm on now, that drops my blood pressure really low. And so we can't do that. So anyway, the point is, if you can, do a whole bunch of bong hits for me, please. And welcome to Weedsday Wednesday. We have been on air for over 13 years. This is the third platform that we've been on. I don't do video. It's just who I am. I just don't do it. So you just get a blank screen. I don't know how to add pictures. They won't let me do that yet. I don't have access to the feature. I don't know how. I'll get access, and then we'll put some lovely photos of weed up at least so you can see that. All right, so what's going on today? July 23rd, we've got fires up in northern Arizona. The whole country is just kind of underwater, on fire. It's that time of the year. We've not had enough rain at all for the last 2 years here in Arizona. And so sadly, a whole bunch of structures up at the Grand Canyon have burnt down, and they have it, as of yesterday, only 18% contained, which is really sad because that area is just drop dead gorgeous up there. So we are sending prayers out to everybody, whether you're in Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, California, it doesn't matter. We're sending prayers. We love everybody the same. And that's what I have to say about that. All right. So thanks to Tumbleweeds Health Center and the Good Leaf at 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. We got our new sign yesterday. Woo-woo! And it looks awesome. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks spectacular. Our landlord made us do it. But we finally did it, and it looks great. So come see our new sign. It's the Good Leaf sign. Tumbleweeds Health Center is located now inside the Good Leaf at 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. And we have doctors on staff 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, for all your certification needs. So come on down and get certified. You don't even have to come down, actually. We do offer telemedicine. If you get on over to tumbleweedshealthcenter.com, there's a telemedicine section. You just fill out a little form. It's super simple. Send us your ID and a photo of yourself, and we're good to go. Very easy to fill out. You just fill it out. We hook you up with a link to meet our doctor online, and from wherever you are, your car, the bar, the facility, your home, wherever, doesn't matter. We'll check you out, and we'll get you certified. All right. So if you want to know what you can get certified for, this is the list. Most of these conditions you will have seen a doctor already. So if you haven't, that's okay for, most of the chronic pain stuff. And here we go. So the first thing on the list, you do have to have records in the last 12 months for, which is PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. The state requires that once a year, every 12 months, you see a doctor for that. And then you can come get your card and save a whole lot of money. We had a patient come in the other day that said that the state kept calling her and calling her and calling her to get her card. And I'm like, guys, if you want people to get their cards, lower the darn fees. Seriously, lower those fees. That's ridiculous, $150 to get a card. They should just lower it. Make it $25, make it $50. You'll get so much more money, and then you'll have so many more people in the medical program. And in the medical program, you can get a lot stronger weed. You can get 1,000 milligrams of cannabis in whatever form you want. In the recreational program, you only get 100 milligrams, and it has to be a 10 milligram limit on the individual piece that you get. So that's that. And you save taxes. In the recreational program, you're paying 25% sales tax. And I don't know about you guys, but that's a whole lot of sales tax. Yeah. Boo on that one. That's a lot. So you can get rid of that. You also get legal protection from your employer, your landlord, whoever it is that you're hanging out with. They can't just using cannabis. The safest of all drug choices. If you call it a drug, we call it a plant. All right. So PTSD, got to have your records. And like I said, most of these you will have your records for, because they're not conditions that just you or anyone can just diagnose on your own. Cancer, glaucoma, AIDS, chronic pain. That's the big one. That's like 95% of all cards are for chronic pain, because most people have some sort of chronic pain in their life. I've met a couple people in the world that just don't have any pain, and that is freaking awesome. Like, just that's a glorious thing. And I wish to God that was the case for me and my friends. And but that's just a really cool thing when you find somebody and they're like, nope, I don't need it. I don't have any pain. You're like, whoa, praise to the gods. But that covers things like fibromyalgia, migraines, IBS, menstrual cramps, muscle cramps, leg cramps, regular headaches. It causes, there's a lot that causes chronic pain that you can get your card for. So if you don't hear your condition on the list, don't get discouraged, because you can most likely get your card. Severe nausea, seizures, including epilepsy, all seizures, HIV, Hep C, ALS, Crohn's disease, agitation of Alzheimer's, dementia, everything between. I think there's like 25, 29 different types of Alzheimer's, cachexia or wasting syndrome, severe persistent muscle spasms, including multiple sclerosis. You are eligible for a medical cannabis card if you suffer from a chronic or a debilitating disease or medical condition, or just the treatment. That's right, folks, just the treatment for a chronic or debilitating medical disease or medical condition that causes any of the above conditions or more. So if you've got depression, hypertension, autism, Asperger's, anything. If you Tourette's, Parkinson's, if you've got a condition that's not on here, but it's causing you pain or nausea or the inability to eat or tremors, seizures, shakes, anything, you can get your medical card.
If you suffer from one of these medical conditions and have been diagnosed by an Arizona licensed physician, medical cannabis may help relieve your symptoms. Tumbleweeds Health Center is Arizona's premier cannabis certification, health, and education center. Our primary focus is to help the patients of Arizona obtain their medical marijuana card and educate everyone about medical cannabis. With current medical records, approval is a simple process. Contact Tumbleweeds Health Center to see if you qualify for your Arizona medical marijuana card.
Are chronic conditions holding you back from a happy, healthy life? Get on the right track with Tumbleweeds Health Center. Our CBD products are formulated to fit your health lifestyle.
I would definitely say that CBD has changed my life. I mean, I don't worry about my dog anymore, and I don't worry about sleeping anymore.
Tumbleweeds Health Center, voted #1 health center in Tucson, has created a proprietary number of CBD blends, each designed to promote health and well-being. Let Tumbleweeds Health Center show you how CBD products might help you improve your life the natural way.
Yes, give us a call, 520-838-4430. Email thctucson@gmail.com. And you can come on down to 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. And like I said, we offer telemedicine. You can also do that too. All right, so the last few shows, we've been playing the hemp versus Arizona hearing, which so far, to me, in my opinion, has been a joke. They haven't really addressed the problem. They've just been introducing people that are clueless. And especially this detective, Matthew Shea, who but I'll let you be the judge of it. I'll try to keep the comments to myself. You might hear some, but here we go. We're listening to Matthew Shea, a detective in Maricopa County, talk about his knowledge of cannabis and hemp.
Steve, if you
Let's go back a little bit.
Working with the Department of Arizona until we kind of conclude things with the Attorney General's office here. What do you mean regular marijuana products? Smoke shops will sell under the counter THC vapes, THC weed, etc. You know, unfortunately, not all of these smoke shops are up and up. Some of them are just going to deal under the table. So we see that. Meaning that they're not really hemp products; they're just straight up. Those are the ones that we will seize and actually enforce. If we find hemp-derived products, which we do, those just get impounded. Why? Is it your opinion that those products are just as illegal as kind of regular marijuana? It's the Attorney General's opinion, sir. And so, why the lack of enforcement then? Because, again, the Attorney General decided to give a grace period to allow those people that are manufacturing and just trying to earn a living to be able to comply, to understand why they made that decision, and, you know, perhaps even to let them fight it in court. Have you conducted research into methods of manufacturing of these hemp-derived cannabis products? Not necessarily investigations. I've consulted with dispensary agents and people that manufacture cannabis products about how they do that. Some of them actually extract CBD from it. I've been to a number of CBD businesses which have had unfortunate accidents or incidents that have occurred during that manufacture process, discussed it with those guys. I've done a significant amount of research, not only in preparation for this case, but also to be able to teach that topic in a variety of classes. So I wouldn't say it's been an investigation, sir, but I have a moderate amount of knowledge.
Mr. Dean, we're running low on time, so I need you to wrap up with this.
If you citizens, or we would get complaints of citizens about these large hemp fields, trying to educate them on what hemp was and what hemp wasn't, and how we could determine that it was a product that was legal or not. So I worked with them quite a bit on that. Since then, we kind of contact them, involve them. Again, we don't do much enforcement on hemp-derived products as of yet. Okay, you testified about CBD. And you had a slide up about, from your PowerPoint, I think the slide was entitled Cannabis Legal Definition. And that was the legal definition under the criminal code, correct?
In the state of Arizona Criminal Code, 133401.
Under that definition, would CBD be a narcotic drug?
Under that definition, any extract would be, so technically that would be considered to be cannabis. Yes, sir.
Tom Dean is
I'm just going through, Judge, and
Sure, thank you.
cutting here.
the lawyer asking questions here. To Matthew Shea, detective in Maricopa County, over Judge Randall Warner is presiding. You're listening to Weedsday Wednesday. This is Hemp versus Arizona, and we are trying to figure out why they're putting the kibosh on all our THC products.
What would you say is the legal distinction by law or statute or regulation between CBD, the Attorney General's office likes, and Delta 8 THC, which it doesn't like? I'm talking about not scientific, but the legal distinction.
Are you saying Delta 8 on that, sir?
Yeah, because you're saying they're both narcotic. I think you said CBD is a narcotic drug. I think you'd probably say Delta 8 was a narcotic drug as well. What's the legal distinction between the two?
So they define basically the extraction of any of those oils from the marijuana plant as being cannabis. Cannabis, obviously, in 3408, as you know, is considered to be a narcotic drug. However, I do not believe, I know my agency, the Phoenix Police Department, the Attorney General's office, all of the county attorneys I've ever talked to, no one's interested in enforcing against CBD products if it's CBD and CBD isolate. Somebody wants to rub CBD on their body or consume a CBD pill because they think that'll be great for them. Knock yourself out as far as we're concerned. We'll provide some warnings, certainly. Hey, FDA says it's not great to consume this stuff or whatever else, but none of us are going after anybody for CBD. Now, if you take that CBD, turn it into THC, any of those THC products, start selling that as an intoxicating product, it's going to be a different story.
How much Delta 8 does it take for a person to become intoxicated?
Well, the recommended dosage of any THC product is for a beginner 5 milligrams and for an intermediate user 10 milligrams. The state dispensaries will only sell a product that's up to 100 milligrams total, but even they will tell you only take 10 milligrams at a time. If we were to take the last one of the last witnesses that talked about it being 66%, which I'm not sure that's accurate, but perhaps it is. Delta 8 THC is supposed to be a little less potent, then maybe it's 12, but it's going to be very difficult to tell. And there's really no FDA testing or anything like that, so it's really hard to say, sir.
I know you're familiar with the Attorney General's opinion on both its advisory opinion with, I think, on the Delta 8 and also the enforcement letter. Is it when we're broadly speaking to a category of cannabinoids that it would consider intoxicating?
I believe her opinion says Delta 8 and the other cannabinoids that are along with it, sir, which would include, I believe, all those other cannabis products that are there. At least that's what's inferred, the minimum.
Is it the Attorney General's opinion then that if a CBD product...
That's objection foundation.
Overruled, let him finish the question. And you can object.
That if is it the Attorney General's opinion is that, for example, Delta 8 is illegal, what if a trace amount of Delta 8 was in a CBD product? Would that make the entire product illegal based on your understanding of the Attorney General's position?
That's objection.
Oh, it's fine.
It's the written in clearly meant to be intoxicating. It's sold at Total Wine. It's in a vaporizer that has a product on there that says, hey, if you smoke this, you're going to get stoned. Then those are probably going to be considered to be illegal. If there was trace amounts of THC in a bomb or something that you're going to put on yourself, I don't know that we would ever know about it, and I don't think anyone would get intoxicated from it. So I think that's what she's talking about. If you're making an intoxicating product with cannabis in it, then that is considered to be illegal in the state of Arizona, and that's the Attorney General's opinion as she's written it.
Regarding the products,
I need you to wrap up, please.
Okay, Judge, I just have one other category that I'll finish with, if that's all right. I'm going to make it as quick as possible. So one last category about the exhibit.
Go ahead, ask the question.
The exhibits that we were shown, they're purported to be hemp derived. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can only go off of what the markings are on the box or the label, sir.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they really are.
No, it certainly doesn't. Could be derived from a variety of different things.
Isn't the only way for it to be considered legally a hemp derived product is if it comes from hemp, from industrial hemp?
So if it is, maybe I'm misunderstanding your question. Can you re-ask that for me?
So that you talked about the definition of industrial hemp being containing 0.3% or less of delta-9 THC. So these products to be hemp derived would have to come from a plant that was tested in the field at that level.
I think they just say they're coming from a hemp plant, and we're just going off of what the product says on itself, sir. But I wasn't there when they picked it.
But then it wouldn't really be hemp, because if it doesn't come from a hemp plant that tested at 0.3% or less, delta-9 in the field, we heard testimony about when it's got to be done within 30 days before harvest, then it wouldn't really be hemp derived at all. It would just be marijuana derived.
And I'm still trying to understand your argument. So you're saying unless I see it comes from a hemp plant?
Don't worry about his argument, just answer his question.
I'm trying to answer it. I apologize, sir. So if it says it comes from a hemp plant, sir, I believe it comes from a hemp plant. And I don't know why you would, the only other place it could come from is a marijuana plant. And I don't know why they would do that, like a non-sanctioned hemp plant.
You're not familiar with the practice that's prevalent right now where marijuana is converted and repackaged and labeled as hemp?
Oh, I'm very familiar with that, sir.
So the only way to know if it's hemp, though, is if you have that original certificate of analysis showing that it was tested in compliance with the Department of Agriculture regulation, showing that it was 0.3% or less delta-9 THC.
So if I went to Total Wine, I wouldn't be able to tell if any of those were made from hemp.
You'd have to ask them for the initial COA.
And Total Wine would have it?
I would assume so. Anyone should have it if they're going to be selling the products.
I'm not familiar with that, sir.
Okay. So you don't usually look for the original certificate of analysis in your investigations?
They don't ship it with the product that we intercept through FedEx, sir.
Okay. So then how do you know really if these are hemp products at all?
I'm going off of the labeling and what Total Wine puts out that they are, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Redirect, please.
So just two quick questions. You talked about THC from marijuana that's sold at a dispensary in a drink, for example, and THC at Total Wine that's sold in a drink, for example. Usually you see them sold in a potential milligram of THC.
Yes, sir.
You're familiar with what the maximum amounts of THC a product could be sold in a dispensary in Arizona?
State of Arizona is one product, 100 milligrams, and then the suggested dosage is either 5 or 10 milligrams per individual consumption.
Let's break that down. So you could sell a product that contains about 100 milligrams of THC.
Chocolate bar, for instance, might contain 100 milligrams.
10 milligrams per dose, that's the maximum.
Yeah, the chocolate bar will be broken into little squares, and they're suggesting these eat one square at a time. Don't eat too much, or bad things may happen.
And the products at Total Wine that you saw being sold, how much THC did they say they had in milligrams?
Most of them 10, some of them more, a couple of them were less.
No further questions, sir.
Sir, go ahead and see.
Because my next one is just, he was to establish 3 purchases that were bought at smoke shops in Arizona. It'll be pretty quick. I know it's 420, where we can move through that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, called James Cope. Judge, these are demonstrative. I was just going to have to describe them. I wasn't planning them into actual products themselves.
That's fine. Will you state and spell your name, sir?
James Cope. Last name is Cope. Yes.
All right, proceed, please.
The agenda shot is counsel. Can you just introduce yourself to the court?
I'm James Cope. I'm the Chief Special Agent for the Attorney General's Office.
Huh.
So how long have you been a police officer?
37 years.
And so rather than go through lengthy introductions, given the time, I'm just going to ask, in around March of 2025, were you asked to go purchase or see if you could purchase some THC product from a smoke shop?
I was.
And did you do that?
I did.
And we're not here to really discuss the place, but can you describe where the location was that you purchased products from?
Yeah, it was a smoke shop located in Southeast Chandler,
And just
Arizona.
to be clear, it wasn't a dispensary.
It was not.
I'm going to walk through the individual products. It's been marked as Exhibit 4. I believe those are labeled as Snoop Dogg gummies. Can you, if you want to open that, you need to.
I don't need to.
Can you describe what the Snoop Dogg gummies are?
Well, they're labeled as Snoop Dogg treats, and they're purported, or the label says they're cherry lemon, and there's 5 gummies that they say are 5 Delta 9 gummies.
Does it say how many milligrams of THC are in those?
Yes.
I love it.
I'm not as good at this as Matt.
He's trying to find the
10 milligrams.
milligram
Is that-
strength.
I'm sorry, it says 10 milligrams CBD and then 10 milligrams hemp derived Delta 9 per gummy, each gummy.
So that product claims that it's derived from hemp products.
Yes,
And once again, you bought that at a smoke shop here in Arizona.
I did.
Okay, let's move on to Exhibit 5. What's been marked as Exhibit 5? Those are the Gusher runs or whatever.
Yes.
Can you just describe what that product is?
Sorry, what were they called?
They are called, made by Delta King, and they're called the Ultimate Gusher's Runs.
Gusher.
Yeah. And there's 10 gummies, with a total of 2,000 for the pack, and they purport to be 200 milligrams of Delta 8, Delta 9, HHC, THCP, and THCH.
And that's, so just to be clear, 200 milligrams of THC per gummy,
Correct.
and there's 10 gummies in the package,
There is, yes.
so 2,000 milligrams in total.
Correct.
Does that package claim that the THC is hemp derived?
Yes,
And again, just to be clear that you bought that from a smoke shop here in Arizona.
I did. It says this product is derived from 100% legal USA hemp and contains the statement from the 2018 Farm Bill.
And then let's move on to what was marked as a placeholder, Exhibit 6. Those are Cookie Airlines. Can you see that in that package?
Yeah, there's Snooperdoodle, Cookie Airlines cookie that has 250 milligrams, and then it has the again the 2018 hemp declaration on it.
Same product that you bought at the smoke shop in Chandler?
Correct. Yep, I bought all 3 at the same time.
Okay. And then lastly, let's move on to Exhibit, what's marked as a placeholder Exhibit, Exhibit 3. I believe those are a beverage.
Correct.
Can you describe what that beverage is?
It's made by a company called True Leave, and it's a THC infused drink that I purchased online, and it's called Onward Sea Salt Margarita.
Now that product, now True Leaf is a dispensary company, correct?
Correct.
But that product, does it claim to be made from hemp, derived from hemp?
It does.
You mentioned that you bought that product online. Was it online through a dispensary?
No, it was just online on my computer.
Did they verify who you were when you bought it?
No, there was a thing that popped up asking if I was 21, but it didn't ask me for any kind of proof or anything.
How'd you get it delivered to you?
I ordered it online and it was delivered by FedEx to my house.
Did they verify identification, who you were when you bought it?
No, it was left on my porch.
And just so I was clear, you said that product, it says has 5 milligrams of THC in it?
Yes, 5 milligrams THC and CBD.
And in each can?
Correct.
And there's 4 of them?
Yes, there is.
No further questions, Judge.
Okay, cross-examination, please.
These products that you obtained, were you able to trace them back to the original licensed hemp grower that produced the plants that these products were?
I did not know.
Do you know if they were derived from?
I do not.
The hemp plant. So other than just what they're putting on the label, that's the only evidence or reason to think that they might be hemp.
Correct.
And is the idea that if you say a product is hemp derived, that many people, distributors, retailers, might be under the impression that therefore gives it legal protection? And do you understand what I mean?
I do not.
So if they're selling and calling it marijuana, it would be pretty obvious that without a license that they're not allowed to do that. So if they just call it hemp derived, then in compliance with the Agricultural Improvement Act, like it says on these labels, then the idea is that therefore gives it some cover or makes it legal, or at least appear to be legal.
You would have to ask the people that produce it. I'm not sure what they mean.
You don't know where they got it.
I'm sorry?
But you don't know where they got it.
I do not.
Okay. So you don't really know whether that's hemp at all.
Well, we haven't had them tested, no.
No further questions.
Thank you. Correct?
None, Judge.
All right, thank you, sir. You take all that with you?
I did my best. I did my best. Yeah.
All right, folks, it's 4:30. I think that's it for evidence. Yeah.
That's it.
I guess my question is, we can take 10 minutes now and talk about the legal issues if you'd like. I can take time on Monday. I think I have time in the afternoon if we wanted to take a half an hour and talk about legal issues. What do y'all think?
Judge, I have an ongoing every Monday afternoon in Hilo County contract, so I can't appear on the afternoons.
I'm happy to take it under advisement. You briefed it well. I just didn't know if y'all wanted an opportunity to have argument.
Judge, I'm fine if you want to take it under advisement. If you want to spend 10 minutes right now, that works too.
Let's just do 10 minutes right now then, Judge.
Sounds good. All right. So let me start by asking Mr. Dean, the state's brief cites the 2 criminal statutes, one involving marijuana and one involving cannabis. And I put cannabis in quotes because the way that statute defines cannabis is not the way most people understand the term to mean cannabis. It's a very technical definition. The marijuana statute has an express exception for hemp, for industrial hemp. The cannabis statute does not. What am I to make of that?
Well, I think that
I'm sorry, I called it the cannabis statute. It's the narcotic statute, and cannabis is narcotics.
as an aside, Judge, it's even more confusing than other areas of substances. The word cannabis includes both what are called marijuana and cannabis under the criminal code, so it does get a little confusing. But I think it's because those amendments were made based on the passage of Arizona's 2014 hemp law, which was based on the federal government's, Arizona's 2018 hemp law was based on the federal government's 2014 pilot program. And at that point, there was debate in DEA, FDA, about whether or not these products, these extracts, if you will, or concentrates, as they've been referred to in other categories like medical marijuana, or what we call hemp cannabinoid consumables, were lawful. There is some disagreement. which was then clarified in the 2018 Agriculture Improvement Act by Congress saying by any part of the plant, we mean these derivatives, extracts, cannabinoids, and everything. I just don't think that those statutes were amended after that. We know that the regulations were modified. They hadn't been published yet, based on waiting for the 2018 Farm Bill. But those, the DEA's opinion.
Let me offer an alternative, and I want you an opportunity to respond to this. The marijuana statute appears to involve the plant, and the narcotic statute appears to involve, as pertains to THC, it's got lots of other stuff in narcotics, the THC derived from the plant. The criminal statute seems to make that distinction, and so maybe the inclusion of an exemption for industrial hemp in the marijuana statute suggests that the writers of that statute and the legislature that approved it didn't even think that industrial hemp would fall under the narcotic statute, because plants don't. Tell me why that's wrong.
Well, because I think, first of all, that I don't think any indication that they didn't think that hemp could be consumed. They didn't think that that would be illegal consumption of it. Only that the Delta-9 couldn't exceed 0.3. And then also, Judge, that I think that and lost my train of thought there for a second.
Late on a Friday.
The question is, why the distinction that they might not have thought that those products would ever have been included within the definition of industrial hemp. And I think, Judge, that though that was why they didn't know. I think the answer is they didn't know, which was why they put a statute in, ARS 3-312E, which specifically said, look, if it's allowed under federal law in the future, then the industry in Arizona is allowed to operate outside of the parameters of this pilot program. Because I think they weren't sure, but they left room open so that if the federal government later said, no, these products we meant to be legal and are legal, then therefore the industry in Arizona could go ahead and operate in compliance with those federal definitions and not be constricted by what might have been restrictions in the Arizona's pilot program.
Let me ask you a different question. If products with THC below the 0.3% threshold constitute industrial hemp, why do they have to be derived from other industrial hemp? Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, this is
so you're saying, and I think the federal statute supports it, that the industrial hemp is both a thing that's grown, if it's got the low THC under the threshold, and things made from that have a low THC under the threshold, right? But
all parts of the plant.
But if the statute just requires that industrial hemp have less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC, why does that have to come from other industrial hemp? Why can't you make low THC products from regular old marijuana?
Well, I think you could.
Okay.
There's any reason why I think that was the Secretary's testimony.
It would not be a hemp-derived cannabinoid. It would be
marijuana.
hemp.
If I understand you correctly, you're saying you could make a low percent THC product out of marijuana.
Under your interpretation, I think you can.
I think chemically you could, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do that. I think the technology is there where if you want to make a low percent THC Delta-9.
You're not asking a technology question, I'm asking a legal question. That would be, under your interpretation, industrial hemp, whether it was derived from a low THC plant or not. As long as the end product is low THC.
No.
Why is that?
Absolutely not.
Walk me through the language of the statute as to why that is.
So the definition of hemp is that it contains less than 0.3% or less Delta-9 THC. At what point do we make that determination? The law says that is done while the plant is in the field within 30 days of harvest. So the Department of Agriculture goes out, conducts whatever state.
So then my question is, why does gummy have to be below 0.3% THC by weight?
Well,
Because as long as it's derived from a plant that's low THC, my question is, why does it have to be both? Why isn't it one or the other?
I think it's because the definition of hemp is that it's 0.3%. It's just that so it's always 0.3% is a limitation regardless of how downstream the product is from the plant. But what makes it hemp derived is the fact that it came from a plant that was tested by a Department of Agriculture or certified laboratory in the field and found to contain 0.3% or less of Delta 9 THC. That's what makes it a hemp derived product. If you took a marijuana product, on your legal question, that's going to be far above 0.3%. It's going to be upwards of anywhere from 15 to, I don't know,
Not if you dilute it with a lot of punch.
I mean, the plant.
Yeah.
The plant.
Yeah, for sure.
So the plant is going to be upwards of, let's just say 15%. So there's no way that you can end up with a hemp product if it came from a plant that was, first of all, way over 0.3% THC, Delta 9 THC, and secondly, wasn't tested in the field. It doesn't become hemp until that certificate of analysis from the field testing shows it is 0.3% or less. That's when it becomes industrial hemp. And anything downstream from that are hemp derived, but regardless of whether they're intended for human consumption or not, those are hemp derived. That's what makes them hemp derived. Am I answering
you have, thank you, and I appreciate it. I need to turn to Mr. Klingerman. Are you the one?
That's it.
My question is about CBD. It seems to me your position encompasses both CBD and THC infused items, unless it's a couple of people testified that you could make a CBD that has no THC in it, but that mostly it has a little bit in it. And I think your definition of your exclusion of industrial hemp from things made that have THC in them, I think it has to apply to CBD, right? Now, whether you all choose to enforce it or not is a different thing.
Yeah, Judge, I think there's two things. Any abstract under the criminal code of a marijuana plant is considered cannabis. CBD is not excluded from that. We wrote our letter specifically.
Your view is CBD is criminal under the narcotics statute.
Yeah.
And it could be sold in a dispensary because the narcotics statute has an exception for things sold in dispensaries.
Yeah, certainly.
But it can't be sold. You can't get CBD. People may be turning a blind eye to it, but you think from a legal standpoint, you can't buy mail order CBD in Arizona.
I don't know how to read it otherwise. But we wrote our letter specifically. That market took off for whatever reason. I got limited resources. We're not interested in going out and enforcing CBD products that are being sold, and we're not doing that. I can tell you right now. When we talk about THC infused products, I think it's pretty clear when we're talking about what that is. It's Delta 9, Delta 8, THCA.
Yeah, let me ask you about the word intoxicating. That seems to me not to be a legal distinction under the hemp statute, but rather an enforcement distinction under the Attorney General's policies.
Correct. Okay. Yep. There is no intoxicating word in the statute. But I think in terms of and your question, what do you make of the definition in the criminal code there, the exclusion under 13305, not in 13408? I think that makes all the difference in the world. A couple of reasons, and specifically the agriculture statutes, Industrial Hemp Act, the pilot program, 3-320, it clearly shows the legislature intended those two to work in concert. It's an affirmative defense to prosecution for the possession or cultivation of marijuana pursuant to Chapter 34, that the defendant is a licensee or a designee of an agent of a licensee who is in compliance with this article. They work in compliance. There's every indication that the legislature, and the plain language of the statute was that industrial hemp products are no longer marijuana products. They no longer fit the definition in the criminal code. I could point you directly to 13305. There is no exception for a consumer or purchaser in that statute. It's all about the licensees. It's any licensee of the industrial hemp pilot program. And when you look at that, and it gives you the definition of what the products are: cloth, cordage, fiber, fuel, grain. They're not marijuana. It's something entirely different. We don't regulate t-shirts under the criminal code. And so it's an entirely different product. And the fact that you don't see that exclusion under the cannabis statutes, because the legislature never intended it to apply to those. That's the only obvious conclusion from that. And so in the terms of the legal analysis, it's illegal. You read it, there's no exception. Definitely edible products. And in terms of, if we're talking about inhalable products, like that you saw the tree, I think it's Exhibit 9 from the state, the marijuana plant, licensees under the Industrial Hemp Act cannot sell marijuana plants to non-licensees. Just can't sell it. You can't sell it to the consumer. You can't sell it to anyone else. They're not covered under the act. There's no exception. And so not only that, but we've cited and put links to the video. You can see from this bill sponsor, colloquially, it's rope, not dope. We're not talking about the enforcement of marijuana. We're talking about products that could be sold like they list in the statute: fiber, fuel, grain, paint, paper, construction materials, whatever it happens to be.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dean, I'll give you the last word.
Judge, I would just say that I think there's an indication that legislature was considering consumption of these products when they decided to, at the time, again, it was unclear. The FDA was raising some issues specifically regarding these products being an unauthorized food additive. And I don't have any legislative intent specifically to point to it, but the fact that they decided to limit, as far as what can be consumed, only products for ingestion, which was the FDA purview, and not any other form of consumption. And we had our witness, Mr. Ware, go through an exhaustive list of different types of methods of consumption or absorption. And the only method that the legislature chose to restrict in any way was ingestion. And under rule of statutory construction, when you reference one thing in a list, it means that the others are permitted, or vice versa. Restricting or permitting one or restricting one means the other can treat it the other way. So when you say ingestion specifically, that's restricted.
My struggle with that statute, and you've convinced me on that point. You're right, absolutely right. Arizona statutes treat ingestion and inhalation as different, and so you have to infer that inhalation is not included in that exclusion. I guess is the way you do it. My problem is I'm not sure what that hemp products definition does or means. There's nothing else that says you can sell hemp products, or here's how you sell hemp products, or anything like that. There's a recording requirement. It's really, I think, the only other time he uses that term. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that.
Well, Judge, I think that if you take the definition, I believe speaks for itself. I think you can look to the frequently asked questions in the Department of Agriculture's website, where they say that you don't have to be licensed by the department to engage in manufacturing and distribution and sale, specifically speaking of CBD in that particular question. As the Attorney General's office pointed out, since the advisory opinion, those frequently asked questions were modified to say that these other products are not, but before that advisory opinion, that language didn't appear as frequently asked questions. So I think the legislature obviously knew that there would be hemp products manufactured and distributed and sold to include CBD, at least according to the Department of Agriculture, which is a narcotic drug according to the Attorney General's office. And so I think that it was understood that you could sell and manufacture these products, specifically in that particular question, CBD, without a license. And I don't think that there's any requirement that, as the Attorney General's office suggesting, that somehow you need to have a dispensary license in order to sell hemp products intended for consumption. CBD is intended for consumption, and the department says, no, you don't need a license to sell it. And the Attorney General's office isn't asking for anyone to produce a license in order to sell it either. So I think that it's clear that they did anticipate
human consumption of hemp cannabinoid products, and they dealt with it. I think it sells. You're talking about, yes, you can sell it. They said the answer is yes, you don't need a license to sell it. They could commence operations which allow for the ingestion of part of the hemp plant called microgreens. Again, this is for ingestion, which is a signal that they left that ingestion restriction behind based on the language of 312E, that restriction no longer applied because it was now clearly legal and allowed for under the federal law, which in the industry was allowed to operate outside of that, outside of our pilot program in compliance with those federal laws.
Thank you. Thank you both for getting this in today. I will take it under advisement. You'll have a decision from me next week. I will sign that decision so that anybody can take an appeal if they want to. And we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
We'll be in recess.
Wow. Well, what do you adjourned? Damn.
All right. Well, you heard it. You heard the whole hearing in its entirety. I personally don't think that they touched on the subjects that they should have. It seemed like a round, and it seemed like there were a lot of uneducated people in the court. And I don't know. It's sketchy at best. To say that there's a gray area is an understatement. I don't know why they spent so much time trying to validate who HITA was. They spent 45 minutes doing that when they could have been talking about the 2018 Farm Bill. And the judge clearly is getting mixed messages on what cannabis is, what marijuana is, what CBD is. I mean, the police officer there said that, no, Sully Sullivan from HITA said that there was THC in CBD, which is totally wrong and misleading. The police officer that works for the dispensaries, who said he does, the one that buys lots and lots of beer at Total Wine and more, was just spitting out facts that were totally uneducated, totally wrong. And the Attorney General's chief special assistant agent, whatever you want to call himself, they went and grabbed hemp products from smoke shops, from Total Wine, and they never tested them. So how can you accurately give an opinion or an educated guess or any thought on a product that's not even tested? And I think that's what Tom Dean was trying to point out, was the fact that they are going strictly based on what's on the label, and you can label anything you want, put something totally different on the inside. I'm watching a show called Trafficked on Hulu, and there was one on prescription drugs yesterday, and the amount of prescription drug that Mexico is producing that are fake is there's no even word to describe how awful it is and how much. It's astonishing how many fake pills are out there that people are crossing over to Mexico to buy because they think that they're real, because of what is solely and purely put on the package. You can dress anything the way you like it, put any cover on any product and call it what you want. But the fact that they're not even testing these at the COA, their certificate of analysis. So there you have it. You guys can listen back to it the last few weeks. I think it was 4 weeks, maybe even, of listening to the hearing. I might just play it in its entirety and let the show run for 4 hours one of these days and let you all just listen as a whole so we don't have to break it up. But now there's no appeal being filed because the attorneys want more money. And I think that's ridiculous. They didn't even do a good job here. Neither side did a good job, and the judge is probably confused as all get out. They called cannabis the extract. Cannabis is the plant. Marijuana is the slang term for the plant. So they're not even using the correct terminology. when they're speaking about something that they're in court for, which is absolutely insane. How can you go to court and talk about a product that's not even it's not even the correct terminology to use? So a lot of uneducated discussions going on, and just a lot of plain ignorance. And, for the Maricopa County cop to get up there and spew out all this stuff that was just total misinformation, completely wrong, can't even pronounce cannabinoids. I mean, come on, it's your basics. Get the basics right. So anyway, that's my humble opinion. We are at the end of the show. If you want to, you can get on over to tumbleweedshealthcenter.com and check out our website. Come get certified. Get on down to 6224 East Speedway Boulevard. Come get some hemp and CBD products. Monsoons are here, so your pups and your kitties and your all sorts of animals are going to need some chilling out for the season. So come get some calming chews so that they can just remain relaxed. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Weedsday Wednesday, y'all. We really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. 13 years. Yeah. Thanks for being here, folks. We'll be here next week and every week, probably for the rest of my natural born life. Have a great Weedsday. Smoke a bong for me and be good to each other. Lend a helping hand, folks. A lot of people need it. Happy Weedsday. Have a good day, everybody. Stay hydrated. Be smart, be safe, and educate.